So in our last session we discussed about utility objects, right? So utility objects up to we discussed recovery object. We will discuss that one. Today I plan to start that recovery scenario concept and repositories collection, repository services, settings. We have to see, right? These things we have to see. Okay, recovery scenario first we will see, and system monitor, text utility, XML utility, that and all we'll see that one by one. Okay. First, let me start with the recovery scenario today, and then that is one more last pending big topic we have. After that, we will cover all these things, remaining things. Okay, small things. Now let us start with today recovery scenario concept. The recovery scenario concept. Recovery scenario. So what is the recovery scenario concept in QTP? Recovery scenario is a mechanism. Recovery scenario is a mechanism used in QTP to handle or to deal with unexpected events, or we can say exceptions. Unexpected event means exceptions during the automation execution. So that is the concept of recovery scenario in QTP. Okay, so recovery scenario concept is, it is a mechanism in QTP to deal with unexpected events which are called exceptions during the automation execution. That is the concept of recovery scenario in QTP. So the main use of recovery scenario is to handle unexpected events during the execution. So what is a exception or unexpected event? What is that? Examples. Any exception. What is the exception means? Exception means nothing but unexpected, or I can say unpredictable event. Expected or unpredictable event. That is called exception. That means any event which cannot be expected when it may occur during the execution. For example, during the execution, suppose you may get some dialog boxes, unexpected dialog boxes while navigating through web pages in the website or in the internet. When you are navigating through web pages, you may get some unexpected system dialog boxes saying that security alert, or sometimes saying that connection is lost, something like that. For example, got it? So that means this kind of dialog boxes will be triggered by browser sometimes unexpectedly, depends upon that browser settings. That means this event which is what is that event? Browser pop-up say dialog box, unexpected dialog box. That is the event. If this dialog box is opened during the automation script execution, then what happens? That automation script will be failed because of this unexpected dialog box. Got it? So this unexpected dialog box will impact the automation script execution result. Because of this unexpected event, your automation scripts will not be running or executed as expected. So what we should do, whenever this kind of unexpected dialog boxes are open, then you should close the dialog box immediately. Then the QTP can execute or can continue the automation scripts execution without any issues. So this is called recovery. That means some unexpected event occurred, and whenever it occurred, if you find it immediately and if you close it, that means you are recovering that exception. That means it is not disturbing the automation execution, scripts execution. So you have to make sure that by closing the dialog box immediately, you are ensuring that that dialog box is not disturbing that automation scripts execution. See, when it is possible, when you can do like this, if you are sitting in front of the system during that automation scripts execution is going on, and if you are sitting in front of the system and if you are keep monitoring that execution, then you can find it immediately. If any unexpected dialog box is displayed, then you can find it immediately and you can close it immediately. That is a scenario, right? What I have explained now. But in the real scenario, in the real time, how that scenario would be, you have to execute your automation scripts at night. At night times, you have to run all of your automation scripts, regression scripts, and it should be finished by next day morning for analyzing the results. Is there any defects or not? If it is the case, you will not be monitoring that execution, because you will be starting the execution and you will be leaving the office, and scripts execution will be till going on full night, and there will be no one to sit in front of the system and keep monitoring that execution to handle if any unexpected events occur in the automation execution. So it is difficult manually to handle that. At the same time, we cannot handle this by script itself, because this dialog box can be displayed at any point of time, at any place during your automation scripts execution. Suppose you are running some 100 scripts execution. Sometimes you may get this dialog box during the second script execution, or in another day you may get this another dialog box during the third script execution or fifth script execution or 90th script execution. That means why we are telling that event is unexpected or unpredictable, we cannot predict when that dialog box may be open, or it may not be opened also. It may be open or it may not be open, and we are not sure that when that event will occur and where it will occur, when it will occur, how it will occur. We cannot predict it. So that type of event is called exception. Understand the exception meaning here? Any event, if you can predict, if you can say that that event will be occurred only at this particular condition, that means you know very well the condition when that event occurs. So that is not unexpected event anymore. So you can handle that very well in the script itself. But unexpected events cannot be handled inside the script. That's why we are going with a different mechanism called recovery scenario in QTP. Why we need a separate mechanism to handle exceptions? Because these exceptions cannot be predicted when and where and which condition it may happen. Because of that, it cannot be handled by the script, by the automation script. So that's why we are defining here a separate mechanism, recovery scenario mechanism in QTP to handle this kind of exceptions. Okay, now let us see. Exception means that we discussed unexpected or unpredictable event. Okay, generally cannot be, or it is very difficult, we can say it is very difficult to handle in the script. It is very difficult to handle in the script. One second, no? What is this? Okay. Yeah. So it is very difficult to handle these exceptions in a script because we don't know when that exception or event will occur or may occur because of that. Okay. So how we can handle this? Okay, before handling these exceptions, first let us see types of exceptions. There are different types of exceptions we can see, we can get during the execution. Types of exceptions. First one is pop-up exception. Pop-up exception. Pop-up exception means unexpected dialog boxes. I can say simply that is the meaning of that. Unexpected or unpredictable, unpredicted dialog boxes. Dialog or pop-ups. And second type of exception, run error. Run error. Run error means runtime error. That means QTP may throw some unexpected errors. Unexpected QTP runtime errors. Runtime errors. Sometimes QTP may throw some general error unexpectedly. Sometimes something will happen unexpectedly. Okay. If any error occurs during the automation script execution, if QTP throws any unexpected error, that is called a run error exception. Okay. And third one, object state exception. Object state exception. What is the object state exception is unexpected object state or unpredictable object state or behavior, you can say. Unpredicted object state or behavior. Okay. That means in the application, during the automation execution, some objects may behave differently, but manually it may be working fine. But when you are doing automation execution, sometimes, again, it is not always, sometimes few objects may behave unexpectedly, or that object state can change object unexpected way, in an unexpected way. That is called object state exception. And the fourth type of exception is application crash. Application crash. That means unexpectedly application is getting crashed or not responsive. Application may get crashed or non-responsive non-responsive, unexpectedly. Okay, this is called application crash exception. So these are the four different types of exceptions we may get in the automation executions, scripts executions. Now let us see how to handle these different types of exceptions by using recovery scenario and what is a step-by-step process. Okay, now let us see that recovery scenario process. Recovery scenario process. How to use this recovery scenario mechanism to handle this exceptions. The first step in the recovery scenario process in QTP is we have to define exception, or we call it as trigger event. Trigger event. Trigger event means exception. What is the event or what is the exception you want to handle by using recovery scenario? So when you can define this exception or event, first you should know that what is that event is. That means you should have experienced at least one time that event occurred during the automation execution. If you have experienced at least, or if you have noticed at least once that event occurred during the automation execution, then you will be coming to know what is that event is, what type of event it is. Is it a pop-up, or is it runtime error, or is it update state, or is it application non-responsive or application crash? What type of event it is. First you should have to see that. Once you noticed or observed any unexpected event during the automation execution, because of that definitely your automation scripts would be failed. So by analyzing that or by seeing that directly, you could find that exception. By analyzing your results, by which due to which reason the scripts are failed, you can find the reason of the failure. It may lead to some unexpected event occurred. Because of that, the scripts might be failed. Again, when you rerun it again, that event may not be occurred again second time. The scripts might be running smoothly. But again, when you run third time, again you may get the same event at different place, at different script. Again, some scripts will be failed. So this kind of scenario, where when you can find the exceptions in the automation execution, particularly in the batch run, in the batch execution, you can face some kind of unexpected events which will cause the automation execution fail. So that event should be first observed, and you have to know that what is that event is. So how to define? The first step in the recovery scenario process is you should know what is the event or what is the exception that you want to handle, and that event should be defined very clearly. What is that event you want to recover? That means if this event occurs, that means you are defining one event. So whenever that event occurs, then the QTP will invoke this recovery scenario mechanism immediately. So that recovery scenario mechanism will take some action immediately to recover that exception. So that means QTP should identify that event. What is that event? When QTP should invoke that recovery scenario mechanism, QTP should identify that some event. So that event is called here trigger event. That means which event should trigger this recovery scenario mechanism in QTP. So what is that event? So that event should be defined first step. As we discussed here, we have different types of exceptions. That means different types of events may occur during the automation execution. It can be pop-up or run error or object state or application crash. So depends upon the type of exception that event belongs to, you have to define that particular event. For example, if it is a pop-up event, then how we should define that event? If it is a runtime error event, then how we should define that event? So that we should know that first. So let us see first pop-up event. How to define a pop-up event in the first step. What is the first step? Defining event, an event, exception event. So here I am defining pop-up event. Pop-up event. So how to define a pop-up event? To define a pop-up event, just we have to define pop-up or dialog box title. We have to define what is the dialog box is coming up unexpectedly. What is the title of the dialog box? Suppose if there is no title, then at least some text will be displayed in the dialog box. So what is the text displayed inside the dialog box? So if you want, you can define both or any one we can define. You can define both the values, or you can, if you have only one value, you can use one value. That means we have to define something. How to identify that unexpected dialog box? Either by using title or by using the text message what is displayed in that dialog box, or both. Are you clear? So this is how we can define pop-up event if it is a pop-up dialog box. Suppose if it is a runtime error, run error, then how to define that? Yeah. If it is a runtime error, how we should define that? Okay. If it is a runtime error, you should define what is that error message the QTP returns unexpectedly. What is the error description? Error description should be defined. We have to define error description thrown by thrown, or error description that we are getting in the execution. Unexpected error. What is that unexpected error description that we are getting should be defined here. And similarly here, if it is object state, we should define here unexpected object behavior or unexpected object state. How we can define any object state in the application? By using that object's property and values. So you should define here object name, for which object you are going to define unexpected state. So that object property name and values. Property names and values. Multiple properties can be defined. These are the two things we have to define unexpected object state exception. And similarly, the last one, to define application crash exception, what should be defined? We should define here, for example, you are running automation scripts, 100 automation scripts or 500 automation scripts we are running in a batch mode at night. See, these automation scripts will be communicating with other systems, or with other applications, or with other database servers, understand, or with other application servers. So there are so many other system components might be there during the execution with which the automation scripts might be communicating. Suppose if any of these systems, either application or database server, okay, or Excel file from which you are reading the data, or some XML file, like that, any component during the automation execution, any application may not be responding or may get crashed. It may be possible. Suppose you are saving the Excel file using automation script, but that Excel file get crashed. After saving, again you are trying to read the data from that Excel file. You cannot read it. At the time of saving, if that Excel file is get crashed and you cannot open that Excel file again for reading, it will throw error. So your script will fail. Why it is not saved properly? Maybe there are multiple instances of excel.exe process might be running in the backend. So because of that, that file may get crashed or multiple instances of that file is opened already. Okay, so there could be different reasons. During the automation scripts execution, any application or any other system component may get crashed. It is possible. Sometimes QTP itself may get crashed, or sometimes your system itself may get crashed. For example, your system, right? Suppose in C drive you don't have enough space, enough of free space is not available in your system where you are running your QTP scripts. Then what will happen? Yeah, it is this kind of issues we used to face because the clients will provide their missions. You cannot work in our missions in our company, right? You need to work on client missions in their network. So client will provide for execution, they will provide multiple missions to execute automation scripts as quickly as possible. They can provide multiple missions. So what happens when you are running the scripts on multiple missions? So generally they will provide the missions with very limited free space available. Generally some missions may be having enough space or more space also, but sometimes it may happen some client missions may be having very less free space available in the C drive. In that situation, what will happen when you are running the scripts, QTP scripts, full night in that mission? Initially, it will be running good. Maybe when you start execution, you don't see any problem. It will be going smoothly. But after 5 hours or 6 hours, that system get crashed. Crash means it won't respond. System will not respond after 5-6 hours. The problem is what happens during the QTP execution. QTP is running many applications, and QTP also itself it is a tool. It is running in the back end many things. Many temporary files will be keep created in the C drive. So what will happen? That C drive space, free space will be fully occupied after 5-6 hours. So there will be no more free space will be available to run your automation script. So without free space, QTP cannot continue its execution. Not only QTP, any other application cannot be executed in that system. So what will happen? Finally, it will come to freeze down. So the system will not respond completely. Or QTP may not respond after 5 or 6 hours. Your execution will not proceed. So this kind of situations we may experience. See, it is also one kind of application issue. That means application is getting crashed or application is not responding because of memory out of space, out of memory, because the C drive is out of memory. There is no free space available in the C drive. So because of that, application cannot be executed anymore. So it becomes non-responsive. That means I'm telling you an example. So these kind of situations may lead to application crash unexpectedly. So it is one type of exception. So how we can define this application crash event in the recovery scenario? How QTP can identify application is crashed or application is not responding? How it knows? So which application is not responding? See, QTP may be communicating with multiple applications during the execution with Excel file, with the original application which we are testing, and with some database server from which it may do some validations during the database connection. So any of these things can be get crashed. Either application may get crashed, or Excel file get crashed, or your database may get crashed. So how QTP knows that which application is not responding among these three? It cannot identify on its own. So we have to define here what is that application. So what is that application process name? Application process name. Which application process may get crashed during the automation scripts execution? It can be Excel file. Then you have to define excel.exe is the application process name which may get crashed during the automation scripts execution. Understand? For example, if it is a SQL Server database, SQL Server database may get crashed, so that exe file you have to define. Suppose your application is getting crashed sometimes, so that process name. If it is a browser, then iexplorer.exe is the process name. If it is a Chrome browser, chrome.exe is the process name. Like that, you should define that specific application, which application may get crashed during automation scripts execution. If you define this application name, then what QTP will do? QTP will be keep monitoring that application, that particular application during the automation scripts execution. If at any point of time, if that particular application is not responding, then QTP will immediately identify that, and it will invoke immediately recovery scenario mechanism. Understand? So this is the first step in the recovery scenario process. In the first step, what we are doing, we are defining the exception. Exception means unexpected event or unpredictable event, which will disturb the automation scripts execution, batch execution. So there are different types of events which may cause the problem to automation scripts execution. Pop-up events, that means unexpected pop-up dialog boxes, and runtime error, unexpected runtime errors, and unexpected application state or application object behavior during the automation execution, and application crash. Sometimes some applications may get crashed during the automation execution. So all these things will be happened unexpectedly, at unexpected time, at unexpected place during the automation execution. That's why these type of events are called exceptions. Once you know what is that event that should be handled, that means you will not be finding any exceptions at the time of developing the scripts. When you will be finding the exceptions during the batch execution. Once you do your automation scripts batch execution in the first run, it may go smoothly. But when you do second time execution, then you may get some problem in the middle of the execution. Only 50% half of the scripts are executed and half of the scripts are not yet executed at all, because of some unexpected event occurred in the middle of the execution. So it stops that execution, or it disturbs that automation execution process. So whenever you see some event which is breaking your automation scripts execution, then that event, you have to observe that whether that event is repeatedly occurring at the same place, at the same script. You can observe that by running the scripts 1 or 2 times. If that event occurs repeatedly at the same place and at the same time, then it is not exception. You can handle that event in the script itself. Inside that script, in which script you are getting that problem, you can fix that in that script. But if you observe that same event is happening sometimes but not happening sometimes, again it is happening sometimes in the script 2, sometimes in script 5, sometimes in script 10, like that. Same issue is coming up in different places, at different places, not inside the same script every time. If it is the case, it is an unpredictable event that cannot be fixed in the script. So then you should come to a recovery scenario process. In the recovery scenario process, first you should find that what is the exception. Once you find the exception, you should define that exception event. What is that event you want to recover? If it is a pop-up event, that means if it is unexpected dialog box, then you should define the dialog box title or text displayed in the dialog box, or both can be defined to define unexpected dialog box. Similarly, to define unexpected error, what should be defined? We have to define the error description. What is that error description you are getting unexpectedly during the automation execution? And similarly, unexpected object state, unexpected object behavior. Some objects in the application may change its object state unexpectedly only during the automation execution. But during the manual execution, you don't see that problem. But during the automation execution, sometimes some object will behave differently. Okay, so it may cause problem to continue automation execution sometimes, and application crash. So these are the different types of events. First we should identify what type of event it is. If it is a pop-up event, then define what is the title and what is the text displayed in the dialog box. If it is a runtime error, then define error description. And if it is object state, define that object name and its object properties and value, unexpected value of the property. And if it is application crash event, then define that application name, which application is getting crashed during the execution. Perfect clear? In the first step, any doubts, Chari? In the first step, Shiva? Any questions here in the step 1 in the recovery scenario process? Just understand the process, then we will see that how to define that. I will show you practically. Yeah, not only dialog box. To define any event, either pop-up event or run error event or object state event or application event, first we should see that event. We should know that event. We should notice that event. Only then you can define a recovery scenario to handle that event. See, without knowing what is that event, how we can handle that? We cannot handle, right? So first we should know what is the event, what is that event is happening unexpectedly. Then you can find it, whether it is a pop-up event or whether it is a runtime error event or object state event or application crash event. Then you can categorize that event, and then accordingly you can define that event. Okay. Now come to second step. Once you define the object, exception, what exception or an unexpected event that you want to handle by using this recovery scenario, we should define that event in the step 1. In the step 2, after defining the event, then we have to define recovery operations. Recovery operations. We have to define recovery operations. Recovery operations means actions. What action should be taken? If that event occurs, then what we should do to close that event, to close that unexpected event, to nullify that unexpected event? What we should do? So what action should be taken immediately? Suppose if it is a unexpected pop-up message coming up, then what action we have to do? We have to close that pop-up immediately. That is the action we have to take, correct? Suppose if you get some runtime error, what is runtime error? Sometimes you may get some runtime error. See, for this runtime error, I will give you one example. Try to understand that. What is this is? For example, let me take this help file. For example, I have a script written to verify in the index, to verify the index in the help. It is a help file, correct? Inside the help file, I want to verify the index values. So this is the index list. If I click here, see, it displays here the corresponding descriptions. Is it right? See, corresponding descriptions are getting displayed here, correct? So I want to verify whether this description is correctly displaying or not for my application. See, for every application, they will be adding some help file. in that help file, similar to this index list, there will be providing some list of definitions. For example, list of definitions are there, business terms which will be used in their application. So those business terms are defined here, and the corresponding definitions are displayed in the right side. It is the application. This is what we have to verify. I have to verify all the business terms definitions are correctly displaying in this index page or not. That is my script. How you will be doing that? I will be creating a script to click on first index item and then check that what is that index name, and then check that corresponding definition in the database, and then check that is it correctly displayed or not here. So this is the process how we should have to do that validation. Understand? So like that I will be doing one by one, keep on clicking one by one all those things. I will come here. When I come here, see, you could not see the next element, correct? When I click on this last element, we are not able to see the next element, is not visible. Then what will happen? QTP script will fail because QTP cannot find the next element, is not visible in the list. So it will throw error. What is that error? Element is not visible. Our object is not visible. Error will be thrown by QTP. When it will throw error? When QTP is trying to click on some index name which is not visible in that list. In that case, what we should do? We should move this, scroll one tab down. Is it right? Here. See, now it is the first one after the next page. So this is the element I am trying to open here. So when the mouse is here, that index name is not completely visible here. Look at that blue color. It is not completely visible. When it will be visible? When I click here one page down or one tab down, only then it will be visible. It is visible. It is the first column. What is the first name? So again I can continue to select all the items one by one. Again when I reach here, this next item, this item will not be visible. That means you will be keep on continuously getting this problem. What is that problem? Object not visible. When it will be coming? On which item it will be coming, that error? While clicking this item or while clicking this item or while clicking this item? We are not sure. Is it right? On which element that error will be coming? We are not sure. Understand? So this is one example, runtime error. That means this runtime error may happen repeatedly, but we are not sure when it will occur. It will work fine without any error until for all these elements. When you come to here, the next element, it will throw error. So this is one example for runtime errors, just a practical example I have shown. So okay. So in this case, what is the recovery operation for runtime error? We have to click one tab down, the scroll down, one page down. Then the next elements will be visible. Then you can continue the execution. So that is the recovery action here. Understand? So similarly, object state exception. See, you cannot see that object state exception now. One example I will tell you what I faced in my projects, in one of my previous projects. Object state exception. We were automating one Java application, Java Windows application. Okay? Java Windows application means it contains all Java objects, Java text box, Java button, Java edit box, Java list, like that, Java table. These are the object names in Java application. QTP identifies like that. See, when we click on one Java button, one particular Java button, application throwing some dialog box with some error message. That error message is related to some code, Java code error, related error. Are you getting my point? When I run my automation script and when that script clicks on some Java button, again that Java button is not same Java button. Sometimes when I click on next button, I may get the dialog box. What is the dialog box? Java error dialog box. Some code level. error message will be displayed. Java code error dialog box will be displayed. Sometimes on next button, sometimes on save button, sometimes on a close button. So like that, when we are running our automation script, whenever script is clicking on any Java button in the application, again not every time, sometimes that dialog box is keep on opening. Really we break our head why the dialog box is coming, but when you click manually you don't get the dialog box. If you click that any button in the application manually, you cannot show that, you cannot see that. But when you are running the script and when the script is clicking the dialog box, sorry, button, you will be getting the dialog box, error dialog box. We have shown that to developers, but developers side we cannot say this is a defect because it cannot be repeated. If they do same thing manually in their development environment, they don't get the dialog box. So that's why they didn't consider that as a defect because it's not reproducible. It is not, they are not able to reproduce that. So that's what the reason they said that and they closed that defect. But during the automation execution, with the snapshots also captured, we are capturing the snapshots also. But still they are not able to reproduce that manually. That is a problem. That means during the automation script execution, again by clicking the buttons, Java buttons, sometimes the application is throwing some Java error dialog box. It is a really practical example. We have seen that. Okay. So that means what? That means that that Java button is behaving something differently when you are running by automation script. When it is clicked by automation script. Again, not always, sometimes. So these kind of examples I could say for object state exception. Okay, and application crash is normal. Any application may get crashed during the automation run. So then we have to recover that. We have to close that application. Again, we have to restart that application. That is a recovery action that we have to take to recover that application crash. Okay, all of you clear? That means recovery operations means the actions that should be taken to recover that exception, to make sure automation scripts execution is not interrupted. That is the main objective. That exception should not interrupt the automation scripts execution. That is the main goal. So for that, what we have to do? For that, what action should be taken immediately? Those actions should be defined in the recovery operations steps. That is the second step. Okay. So here the recovery operations can be defined different types of recovery operations. We can define the recovery operations in different ways in the recovery scenario. We can define recovery operations in different options by using different options. What are those options? First one. Just press enter key. See, I want to press just enter key. Sorry, 1 second. Keyboard or mouse actions. Mouse actions. You can recover exceptions by using keyboard keys or mouse actions. Some exceptions can be recovered simply by pressing enter key or simply by pressing escape key. Suppose if any dialog box is opened, I can close the dialog box just simply by pressing escape key. That pop-up will be closed immediately. Sometimes you have to click a enter button to accept the dialog box and then close it. That means we have to click OK button in the dialog box to close that. Then you have to press enter key. So that is one type of recovery operation that you can perform to recover exception. And the second one, a function call. We can define one library function, and in that library function we can define multiple actions what you want to execute to recover that exception, and that function can be executed as a recovery operation. Understand? A function call to run multiple actions, multiple steps or multiple sequence of actions or steps, I can say. third one, restart process, close process. Sometimes you have to close the application process. When you have to close the application process, if any application is not responding or if any application is getting crashed, then how you can recover that? By closing that. By closing, you have to do some combinations of recovery actions here. First you have to close the process, and then again you have to call one function to restart that application. Understand? So sometimes combination of these recovery actions can be used to recover some exceptions. And the fourth one, restart Windows. That means restart the system itself. Sometimes that means because of this application crash, sometimes it may crash the system itself. That means system itself may not be responding sometimes. In that case, you cannot do anything in that system until you have to restart it. That could be the sometimes solution, recovery action. Sometimes you may have to restart your system itself. That could be sometimes recovery operation. So these are the four different types of recovery operations we can use as a recovery operations in the recovery scenario. All of you clear? So when we use this keyboard or mouse actions to close, example I'm telling, pop-up or dialog boxes by clicking keys or mouse. See here again in this we have different types of what is that? We can press enter key to close that dialog box, or sometimes we have to press escape key to close the dialog box. Sometimes we have to click some other button. I have to click cancel button, or I have to click close button. Then that means you have to click a specific button, specific object you have to click on specific object in the dialog box to close that. Click on specific object. Are you clear? Or sometimes we have to use a combination of keys, keyboard keys like alt F4 I have to click to close that application. Alt F4. Sometimes combination of your keyboard keys can be used to recover your exception. Combination of keys can be used. So these are the different types of. Okay, inside keyboard or mouse actions, we can use these kind of mouse actions, either pressing enter key or pressing escape key, or click on a specific button or object in the dialog box in dialog example. Okay, or sometimes press combination of keys in the keyboard. Press combination of keys in keyboard. So these are the things, different types of keyboard actions and mouse actions we can execute. All of you clear, guys? All of you following? You have any confusion or any doubt? Just please stop me. Now, what is the when we can use function call option to define recovery operations? When we use this, just simply to close a pop-up or dialog box by clicking a key or mouse, then we can go with this option, keyboard or mouse actions. All of you clear? And when you can go with the function call option to close, to execute, when you can go to execute set of actions, then you should go with function call to execute a set of actions. Clear, guys? For that, how you can go with set of actions? First, you have to define a function. You have to define a function name. Define a function. with set of actions. We have to define a function with set of actions here, and then we have to call that function as a recovery operation. That I will show you that how to do that. And last one, next one, close process. When we can use this close process? Close process should be used to close the applications which are not responding or crashed, which are not responding or get crashed. Clear? In that case, we should use this option. And last one, when you should use this restart Windows option, it should be used to restart the system itself, to restart the system. If system is not responding, if system itself not responding, in that case we use this option. All of it clear? So these are the 4 different types of recovery actions we can choose and you can define. Once you define the recovery operations, in the first step we are defining the event exception, what event you want to handle, and the second step we are defining how that exception should be handled, what actions should be executed to recover that exception. So those recovery actions we are defining here in the second step. And in the third step, once you have executed recovery actions to recover that exception, then we have to define post recovery option. Post recovery option. We have to select post recovery option. Post recovery operation. Define post recovery operation. That means once that exception is recovered by running these recovery actions, whatever we defined, once that exception is recovered, is completely recovered, then what you want to do, how you want to proceed the automation scripts execution, how do you want to proceed that automation scripts execution, that will be defined here. Understand? That means here we define here what should be defined. Define how automation execution should be resumed after recovering the exception. That option will be defined. So there are different options, but only one option can be selected here, can be defined here. See, for example, I am running 100 scripts execution and I got some exception in the middle of 10th script, and that 10th script is running 5 iterations, total 5 iterations I am running that script. I got exception in the 5th iteration. Are you getting my point? See here, example I am giving 100 scripts I am running. Scenario, 100 scripts running, 100 scripts, okay. Got exception in 10th script execution. In 10th script, 5th test iteration, okay, and second action 1 iteration, and action 1 second iteration. See that, look at that, it is a scenario. I got the exception at this place where I'm running 100 scripts in a batch mode. We got exception inside the 10th script execution. Again, inside the 10th script, which test iteration is going on? 5th test iteration execution is going on, and inside that 5th test iteration, action 1 is running its second iteration. Are you clear? Still, that action 1 should be continued and one more iteration. For example, there are 3 action iterations and there are some 6 test iterations in that 10th script. Then exception occurred. Then after that exception is recovered by using recovery actions. That's fine. After recovering this exception, where script is interrupted in the 10th script, 5th test iteration, and second action 1 iteration. Are you clear? Now exception is occurred here and exception is recovered. Then from which point you want to continue the script's execution? There are different options you can choose. For example, I don't want to continue this 10th script execution. I want to stop it because there is some problem occurred in this 10th script. I don't want to continue this 10th script execution. I want to stop it completely. Or, so there are different options will be arising here. Or, since interruption occurred in the action 1 second iteration, okay, while running the second step, for example, see again I can go one more level. Inside that action iteration, at step 5th step, for example, and 3rd step, in the 3rd statement inside action 1, I got error, I got exception in the 3rd statement, okay. Then I can continue this 3rd step execution one more time, repeat same 3rd step execution. After recovering that exception, how I want to proceed? See, this is one option I'm defining here. See that. Repeat the current step. What is the current step? 3rd step, where we got that exception. Repeat that current step execution and proceed. It is one option. All of you clear? See now here options, post recovery options. Post recovery options. What we can select. So this is one thing. And next one, I don't want to run this 3rd step where we got that error. Instead of rerunning that same 3rd step, I don't want to rerun that 3rd step. Simply ignore that and proceed the execution from the next step. That means proceed execution from the next step. From the next step in the same action iteration and in the same test iteration in the same 10th script. All of it clear? These two options will be continued the execution in the same second iteration, in the same 5th iteration, in the same 10th script. If I choose second option or if I choose the first option. Or 3rd option I can choose, stop this current action iteration. Stop this current action iteration. We got error in the second iteration of the action 1. So stop it. Don't continue the second iteration of action 1. Stop it. And proceed from next action iteration. Proceed the execution from next action iteration. See that. That option we can choose. Proceed from next action iteration. Similarly, I can stop the execution of the 5th test iteration completely. And I can continue the execution from 6th test iteration. Stop the current iteration. After exception is recovered, stop this current test iteration. Whatever the execution is going on now, stop it. And proceed the execution starting from next iteration, 6th test iteration. Proceed test iteration. All of it clear? Or restart this 10th script execution from the beginning. I don't want 6th iteration or 3rd iteration or next step or repeat the same step. Not like that. I want to rerun that same script again from the beginning. Once exception occurred and once exception is recovered, I want to restart that script execution from the beginning. Restart the script execution. Okay. Or I don't want to rerun this 10th script at all. I want to stop it. Error occurred in the 10th script, that's fine. Recover that exception and close that script and stop that script execution and close it and go to 11th script directly. That means proceed from next script. Proceed the execution from next script. Stop this. Okay. Or last option, stop that complete execution itself. I don't want continue execution anymore. I don't want run 100 scripts. Stop that execution completely. See, just look at that. These are all different options you can choose. How you want to continue the automation execution after exception is recovered in the recovery scenario by using recovery scenario. So this option is called post recovery operation. How do you want to proceed the automation? How do you want to resume the automation script execution after recovering that exception is called post recovery operation. So these are the options are available and you can choose any one option. That is simple thing. And now the last step, last one step, save that recovery scenario. It is the last step in the recovery scenario creation. Finally, save that recovery scenario in .qrs file. That is the extension of recovery scenario file, qrs.qrs. And last step, after recovery scenario is created and saved, then you should add recovery scenario to QTP. Save that recovery scenario to QTP tool. And last step, activate that scenario. Activate recovery scenario. And these are the steps involved in the recovery scenario process. 6 steps are involved. First step, define the exception, what exception you want to handle. Then define the recovery actions, how you want to recover that exception. After recovering that, then how do you want to continue the execution should be defined. And after that, save that recovery scenario file and add that recovery scenario to QTP and activate that recovery scenario. When that recovery scenario should be enabled, you can enable or disable that recovery scenario in the automation script execution. During the script execution, whenever you want, you can enable that. Whenever you want, you can disable that recovery scenario. That is what is called here activate and deactivate the recovery scenario. That can be done. Okay, so these are the 6 steps involved in the recovery scenario process. Guys, all of you clear? Understand this process now? Any doubts? And we will see that practical now. Just after 5 minutes break, I will show you that practicals. Okay, how to do all these things, all these steps in the QTP script using QTP. We will see that practically one by one. Okay, guys, let me take some 5 minutes break, and I will be joined back at 5-6. Yeah, thank you, guys. Okay, now let us see this how we can. First, we'll see pop-up recovery scenario. Pop-up recovery. Okay. Yeah. See, let me explain some example. Already we have an example, I guess. Let me take open order example. Is there any script we have? Open order script in flight reservation application. Test scripts. Open order. Okay. No, it is initial state. So this is the open order script. Okay. Let me open the script. See what the script will do. It opens orders. It opens orders from data table. See that it is a opens the orders from data table. In action 1, I guess. Yes, here we have action 1. See, now I will do small change in this test data. For example, if I enter here some invalid order number, if I enter here invalid order number, so I have how many iterations in this for this script? There are 4 iterations. I am expecting this script should be executed. But in the third row, I have entered invalid order number. Okay. Now let us run the script. We have to open the application. Okay, first I'll give normal order number 3. Now order number 3 I have entered and I'm running the script. It should be running good without any issues now. Is it right? Order number 1, order number 2, order number 3, order number 4. All orders are opened successfully without any issues. 5 orders are executed. Now if I enter some in the third row some invalid number, order number, I am entering here and I am running the script now. So now what's happening? Application displaying one dialog box, one new dialog box. What is the dialog box? Order number does not exist. This dialog box is not handled in the script. Is it right? We have not handled this dialog box inside the script, so that's why the script is not closing the dialog box. See, it is not running the next iteration itself. It is getting failed. It is throwing error. It is not able to continue the execution of iteration 4 and iteration 5 not executed. Stop this. Now application is throwing one dialog box here. Is it exception? Is it exceptional dialog box? Not at all. It is not at all exception. Understand? Because it is application requirement. Whenever we enter invalid order number in the order number text box and you click OK button in open order dialog box, application should open this dialog box. That is the application functionality. When you try to open invalid order which does not exist in the database, then application should display this dialog box. It is application functionality. It is not at all unexpected dialog box. Just please understand that first. This dialog box is not at all unexpected dialog box. It is very well expected dialog box as per the application functionality. Okay, but let us take this dialog box. Just assume this dialog box is unexpected. For our understanding, to let us see that how we can use recovery scenario to recover unexpected dialog boxes. Understand? Just assume for some time this dialog box is unexpected, but really it is not an unexpected dialog box. Only for example, to see how to use recovery scenario in the real-time project. Okay, just I want to take this, to assume this dialog box as unexpected dialog box. Okay guys, if this dialog box is unexpected, then what we should do? we should close this dialog box immediately. Is it right? See what I want to do. See now what will happen because of this dialog box. The QTP is not running this iteration 4 and iteration 5. So how I want to recover this exception, recover this dialog box? Whenever this dialog box is opened in the middle of this automation script execution, what I want to do? I want to close this OK button and I want to click this cancel button and I want to continue the next iteration 4 and 5 successfully without any issues. There is some unexpected dialog box is opened in iteration 3, that's fine. But that dialog box should not stop my script execution. If you don't close the dialog box, it will stop your automation execution. It will make your automation script failed. Understand? That means it is disturbing, interrupting your automation script execution. The same thing will happen if there is any unexpected dialog box is opened during the automation execution, and if that unexpected dialog box is not closed immediately, it will definitely fail your script. It will impact your script execution and that script will be failed. Not only that script failed, it may not allow to continue the next script continuously successfully. That means it may fail all the remaining scripts, not only the current script. It may fail all remaining scripts as well. That much impact it will create, the unexpected dialog boxes, if it is not closed immediately. Understand? So in this example, this dialog box, what it is doing, it is making iteration 4, iteration 3 we got some dialog box, but iteration 4 and iteration 5 are getting failed because of the dialog box. Understand? Now by using recovery scenario, how we can handle this pop-up exception. In the same way how we are doing this one, in the same way in the real-time scenario also we can handle any type of unexpected dialogues, pop-ups in the automation execution. So for time being, just assume this dialog box as a unexpected dialog box. This dialog box. Whenever this dialog box opens, then what actions we should execute to recover that? We should close this dialog box and also this open order dialog box as well. Only then this QTP can continue next iteration successfully. If I close this dialog box and if this dialog box is not closed, still QTP cannot continue fourth iteration. It cannot execute still until you close this dialog box also. If you close both the dialog boxes, then only QTP can continue fourth iteration without any issue. Are you getting my point? So the recovery actions in this example is two dialog boxes should be closed. One is flight reservations, another one is open order dialog box. See, to close this OK button, I can press simply enter key in the keyboard. It can be closed. Similarly, to close this open order button dialog box, I can press escape key in the keyboard. It can be closed. Escape key means it will click cancel button. Enter key means it will click OK button. That is the difference. Okay. Escape key means it will close it. Done. So these are the two actions I should execute whenever the dialog box is opened. First I have to press enter key in the keyboard, and after that I have to press escape key in the keyboard so that both the dialogs will be closed and QTP script will continue fourth and fifth iterations without any issues. Are you clear now? Example what we are going to see with the pop-up recovery scenario. Let us see that now. First let us open that. See, first you should know what is the dialog box is. What is the dialog box? This is the dialog box. Okay, it is a dialog box. We want to define as unexpected dialog or exception dialog. So go to QTP tools, resources, recovery scenario manager. Open this. We are going to define a new recovery scenario and we are going to create new recovery scenario file. So everything is new. Click on this new scenario button. Let me take the snapshot. Here you have to click on new scenario button, this one. Now it opens this dialog box, and after that click next button here, and here it displays different types of events, what type of event you want to handle. Select here what type of event you want to handle. Pop-up window, select first option, pop-up window, and take the snapshot, and next click next. And what we should define, to define pop-up window, we have to define that window title. So you can simply click this hand icon and select that title in the application. Windows title, dialog box title, click on that dialog box title. See, it captures automatically the dialog box title, flight reservations, and also it captures text displayed. I don't want to use this text displayed, I can remove that, I can ignore that one. I want to use only title. Whenever dialog box opened with this title, then it is a exception. That is what we are defining as exception. Okay, done. Now click next button. So what is next step? That means definition is over, exception is defined. What is the exception? We defined flight reservations dialog box as exception. That is over. So step 1 is over. Step 2, recovery operations. Define recovery operations. Again click next button. It will show different types of recovery operations. Then you can choose which option you want to select. Click next. Different types of recovery operations. Keyboard or mouse operations, close application process, application function call, or restart Windows. These are the 4 options we discussed. Now to recover this flight reservations dialog box, what actions we should execute? 2 keyboard actions are enough. First action is enter key and second action is escape key. These are the 2 actions that should be executed to recover this exception. So I am selecting here keyboard or mouse actions. When you select this keyboard or mouse actions, move next. Sorry, take this snapshot. Move next. See, these are the different types of keyboard actions. Enter key, escape key, or click on any specific button in the dialog box, or enter combination of keys. These we discussed. Now I want to first click enter key. So select here enter key. Okay. When you click next button, that action is added here. Say recovery action is added to the recovery operations list. Are you clear? That is added to recovery operations list here. Now again, is it enough? Only one action is not enough. One more action you should execute. Second action, what is that? Press escape key. So we have to add one more recovery action. So again select this, add another recovery operation. Checkbox should be selected and click next button. Again select keyboard action. Are you clear? Again select keyboard action. Next, again select now escape key. This time I want to click escape key. So now click next button. So the second action is added here to the list of recovery operations. Clear now? So we have added 2 recovery actions. These are the actions I want to execute whenever that flight reservations dialog box is opened during the execution of automation script. I want to execute these 2 actions. Do you want to add one more action? No more actions required. Only 2 actions I want to execute, and unselect this checkbox. Are you clear? So this time that checkbox should be unselected. That is important. Okay. Unselect this checkbox. Now click next button. See now what is the next step is coming? Post recovery option. See what options are there. Whatever the action options we discussed already. Repeat current step and continue. Proceed to next step. Proceed to next action iteration. Proceed to next test iteration. Restart the current test or stop the test. Restart the stop the test run. I'm sorry, I think so I have added two more options, new options, which are not available. What are the options I have added? Proceed to next script is not available. Just a stop script only is there. Stop script execution. Stop script execution. That means it will stop the current script execution and continues next script execution. That is the meaning of this last one. Okay guys, so now here I am choosing this option. See, because or I can choose this option also. See, we are running action iterations, right? How many action iterations we are running? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 iterations. We are getting exception in the third iteration. Whenever we got error in the third iteration, what I am doing, I want to click first enter key and then click escape key. Then I want to proceed to next action iteration. I don't want to continue the third iteration because there is some error occurred. Leave it. I want to go to next action iteration. So I select here this option. Proceed to next action iteration. That means I want to continue the execution from fourth iteration onwards. So I select this option. Post recovery operation. Done. Move next. Here we have to define the scenario name. Define the recovery scenario name. Pop up. Define the scenario name. Then next, it displays summary of the recovery scenario. What recovery scenario we created, what type of event, what type of recovery actions you selected, and what type of post recovery option you selected. That summary of recovery scenario is displayed here. Okay. Now see, there are two checkboxes. So what is these two checkboxes are? If I select this checkbox, this recovery scenario will be added automatically to this script, to the current script which is opened in QTP. If I don't select this, it will not be added automatically. You should add it manually. That is the first checkbox. And second checkbox, if you select the second checkbox, this recovery scenario will be added by default to every new script. After this recovery scenario is created, if I open a new QTP script, then this scenario will be automatically added to that new script by default. If you select this second checkbox, understand? That means to every new script, this scenario will be added by default. If you choose this second checkbox, so don't select any of these checkboxes and simply click finish. That's it. So recovery scenario is created. Pop-up recovery scenario is created. Now you should have to save that recovery scenario inside some scenario file, q.qrs file, by clicking this save button. Understand? We have to save that recovery scenario inside some file by clicking this save button. Click save button. So now I will define that inside our folder D drive training UFT, and here I have recovery folder. I will create one more folder called recovery folder, and inside that folder I will give a for flight reservation recovery file. Flight reservation recovery .qrs. Look at that. The file extension is .qrs. Save it. So inside this file, that scenario is saved here inside this recovery scenario file. All of you clear? Save that one. So it is saved here, and then close this. That's it. Now see, I want to use that scenario in this script, so you should add that scenario to this QTP script. How to add that? Go to file, settings, test settings, and recovery tab. So just you have to go to here. we are adding the script scenario to the QTP script here. And here click this plus button and select that file where we saved that recovery scenario. Open that file, .qrs file. All of it clear? Just click this button. When you click plus button, you will be getting this dialog box. And after that, when you click this browse button, then you will be getting this dialog box. Browse dialog. And now select click open. So that is getting open. Do you want to add relative path? Relative path means it won't add full path here. Select click yes. Do you want to use relative path? Yes. See, it is adding. It won't add full path of that recovery scenario file. So here that scenario is displayed here. Inside that file, this is the scenario we have created. Correct? Inside this recovery scenario file. Only one scenario that we created. So it will display the scenarios from this file, from this recovery scenario file. Okay. And from this list of recovery scenarios in this file, select which scenario you want to add to this script. Select this scenario and click add scenario button. See, now that scenario name is added with the file name. So this file path is not added because we selected relative path option dialog box. That means this file path is added inside tools option folders list. This file path is added, not here. Understand? That is called relative path. So that recovery scenario is added to QTP script here. Now, after that, if you unselect this checkbox, this recovery scenario is disabled. Understand? If you select this checkbox, the recovery scenario is enabled in the script. But one more thing, when this recovery scenario should be triggered, should be invoked. So here you can define that option. When I want to invoke this recovery scenario on every step means after running each statement in the QTP script, QTP will be keep monitoring is there any exception occurred after every step execution. If any exception occurred which is already defined in the recovery scenario file, then immediately it will identify that recovery exception and it will call that recovery action for that particular exception. So that is called activation recovery scenario. When you want to activate on every step execution or only on error, whenever QTP returns some error, only then I want to invoke this mechanism, recovery scenario mechanism. Then it will check for that exception. Is there any exception occurred in the execution? It will check for that. If any exception is found, then it will call immediately recovery actions. And it will continue the execution as per the post recovery option that we selected in that recovery scenario. Understand? So here the recovery option should be selected. After adding that, we should select here activation when you want to activate. Here I am selecting here on every step option. I am selecting. Clear? And apply. That's it. That's it. Now we have done that complete end-to-end process. We define the recovery scenario first. How we define that? First we define the exception, then we define recovery actions, and we define the post-recovery option. These are the three steps we have done in the recovery scenario creation. After that, we save that recovery scenario in some scenario file. And after that, we added that recovery scenario to QTP script. And then we activated that recovery scenario on every step or on error or never. Never means it will not be activated. It will not be used in the run, in the execution. Okay. Now let us see the execution of the same script. Here itself I got error. Okay, order 2. See, look at that. Order 4 and 5 are running. Have you observed? The dialog box is opened. What dialog box? Order does not exist. Dialog box is opened. And it is handled already. It is closed. See, look at that here. See, recovery scenario. Look at that. When the dialog box is coming, when we enter the order value as 6786, and when you click OK button, now the dialog box is opened. So this dialog box exists. Look at that. Not that one. Here, see, pop-up. Pop-up is found. That flight reservations dialog is found by recovery scenario. Recovery scenario immediately identifies that flight reservations dialog box is opened. So immediately it will find it is a exception. And when it identifies the exception, immediately it is calling or it is executing recovery actions. Look at that. Keyboard option, enter key is pressed, and keyboard operation, escape key is pressed. And how it continues the action? See that execution, it is skipping that current iteration and it is going to next iteration. See that it is very clearly mentioned. Skip that iteration. It is skipping the current action iteration and it continues the action execution from fourth iteration. Are you clear? See, this is where that recovery scenario is working. Here that recovery scenario is activated, and here that recovery scenario identifies that exception dialog box, and immediately it is executing or it is calling that recovery operations. All recovery operations are executed immediately, and it is continuing the execution as per the post recovery option that what we selected. Are you clear? So just one more time I will run. So it is very fast. See, dialog box is open and closed immediately. Why it is closing immediately? Very simple reason. When we are activating the recovery scenario, on every step the recovery scenario will be activated. That is the reason the QTP is immediately identifying that dialog box. After every step is executed, QTP is checking for the dialog box. So that's why it is immediately found. Suppose if I disable this recovery scenario and then run, disable that, apply, run. Now you can see that dialog box cannot be closed and it won't run fourth and fifth iteration. See, look at that. Why here itself error is coming in the second iteration. Run. See, object is not visible. See, that object is visible, the error is coming because of that window should be activated. First we should write here dot activate. If you add this statement, that error won't come every time. Activate. Now run. Okay. Now third iteration, we got the dialog box, and the dialog box cannot be closed because we disabled the recovery scenario. All of you clear how it is working? How QTP identifies that exceptional unexpected dialog boxes, and how it can handle unexpected dialog boxes by using recovery scenario concept. It will throw error. Object is disabled. Error will be thrown and it won't run fourth and fifth iterations. But if you enable the recovery scenario, it is handling that exception dialog box immediately and it continues the execution of fourth and fifth iterations. That is the difference. If I enable that, if you enable, apply, see, fourth iteration is running, fifth iteration also running. Okay, that is the difference. All of you clear, guys? Recovery scenario, pop-up recovery scenario. Any questions, Chari or Shiva? Okay, now we'll see in the same recovery scenario how to use a function as a recovery operation. Now we have seen keyboard actions, right, as a recovery operations. How to use a function, how to define a function, and how to use a function as a recovery operations. Let us see that. Function call, okay, as a recovery operation. Now let us take the same example and open that same recovery scenario. Now what we created, go to recovery scenario manager and open that recovery scenario file where we created. Inside that file, it is a scenario we created now. Now click edit button. We can modify that recovery scenario. Click edit button. Okay. Now move next. Pop-up window. Same title is same. And here I don't want to use keyboard actions. I want to use a function. I want to use a recovery function. Then I will remove these recovery actions. Okay, guys. So from here we'll see that how to use a recovery function call as a recovery function. Move next. Now choose here function call option. Move next. Sorry, what option I selected? Close process I selected. Function call option should be selected. Okay. Move next. Now select a library file. In which library file you want to define a function. You can define a separate new library file, or you can select any existing library file as well. Okay, that is not a problem. So I will create a new library file inside our folder training. Inside recovery folder, here I will define a new text file. Text file can be a library file. Okay, simply recovery lib dot lib. That's it. It is a text file. Recovery lib. Okay. So I will select that file. UFT recovery lib. See, that file is displayed. It is a text file. It can be text file or VBS file or EFL file. Any file can, any extension we can use for library file in QTP. Open that. See, now currently that library file is empty, correct? There is no function is available. So that's why it is not displaying anything here. That means any functions are there in that library file that can be listed here. Since it is an empty file, it is empty list. So we are going to define a new function here. So that function name we can choose whatever you want. Pop-up. Okay. I'm giving pop-up recovery. Okay, pop-up recovery. That is a function name I'm defining. See, when I give here function name, see, look at that here. Function prototype is automatically created with one argument. That means the pop-up recovery scenario, pop-up recovery function should have one argument. That is syntax. That is the syntax of pop-up recovery scenario function. Are you clear? By default, it will be created automatically. You no need to bother about number of arguments for this recovery function. It will be automatically created. But this function is currently empty. So you should have to define actions inside this function. That is what you have to do. So select here. Now click finish button. When you click this next button, what will happen? This function will be added to this library file automatically. But at present this function is empty. But inside that function, you should define the recovery actions. Clear now? When you click next button, this function definition will be added to this library file. Click next. See, we are calling the function from this library file. What function we are calling? Pop-up recovery. That is a function name in this library file. That means whenever that flight reservations dialog box is opened, is identified by QTP, what QTP will do? Immediately it will call this function. So only one function I want to execute. Clear, guys? Now next. So these are all normal. Go to same thing. Finish and save this. Save this modified updated recovery scenario. Close that. That's it. Now open that library file. Let me open that library file. Go to open function library. It is a library file. See, look at that. That function is added here. Understand? That function is empty now. Correct? So just we should add here two steps. What are those two steps? First, click on what is that dialog box. We're getting this dialog box. First click OK button and then click cancel button. These are the two steps we have to add here inside this function. Clear, guys? So how to add that one? Go to repository file. First add a repository, these objects. Object repository manager. Open. Repositories. Flight.asr. So here inside where is that dialog box is coming? Flight reservation. Inside open order the dialog box will be coming, correct? Okay, let us add that one. Click directly. I am adding that. First I have to click OK button. Select that OK button. See, that is added. Okay. Next step, close that one. We have to click cancel button to close this. Add this cancel button. So that is added. Now drag and drop those two objects here. That is what I have to do. What is the first step? Click OK button. Drag that. Next step, click cancel button inside open order dialog box. That's it. These are the two steps we should run. And save this library file. And save this repository file. Clear? How we have scripted? We have to click two actions. We have to execute two actions. First action is click OK button inside flight reservations dialog box. And second action, click cancel button inside open order dialog box. That's it. Now this function will be executed whenever the dialog box is opened by recovery scenario. Clear, guys? And save this library file and run the script now. See, it is closing that. You can see in the result file how that function is executed. You can see in the result file that function would be executed here inside iteration 3. Here we are getting that pop-up. When pop-up is identified, immediately it is calling a function called pop-up recovery. See, inside that function we are clicking OK button inside flight reservations dialog box, and we are clicking cancel button inside open order dialog box. Clear? These are the two steps are executed. Before it executed two keyboard actions, enter key and escape key, but now it is running a function. Clear, guys? How to use a library function as a recovery operation. Okay, it is some important thing. Okay, because mostly you will be defining recovery actions as a functions. So then you should know how to use this one. So any questions here? No questions? Okay. Now let's see runtime error exception. Runtime error exception. Run error recovery scenario. Run error recovery. Okay. Let us see that how to do that now. Now here I will take same example. See that now I will take same example. But what is this example now? I will disable now. Let me show you that what example I am taking as a run error exception. First I will disable this recovery scenario here. Disable that. Now run the script. See what error we are getting. So what error we got? We got some error. Look at that. Object is disabled. Why object is disabled here? See, we got this error on this particular statement. What is that statement? We are trying to activate flight elevation window, but that is disabled. Because of that, on top of that window, there are two dialog boxes are opened. So because of these two dialog boxes, this window is disabled. Correct. That is the error we are getting. So just assume that this error is unexpected error. It is not unexpected error. Just for to see how to use recovery scenario to handle errors, to handle unexpected errors, I want you to assume this error message is unexpected error message, and we will be defining this error message as an exception. Then if this error is defined as exception, then how it can be recovered by using recovery scenario. All clear? So what is the error message we are getting? Object is disabled. At what step we are getting? At this particular step. So if you want to continue the execution, what we should do? If you want to recover this error and you want to continue the execution, what actions you should take? First, you should close these two windows, dialog boxes, correct? And then from where you can continue the execution? I can continue the execution either by rerunning the same step, or I can proceed from next step itself. Is it right? All of you clear? Okay. We can run either by repeating the same step or by continuing next step. So those two options, any one option I can choose. Correct. So let us see that now. How we can define this recovery scenario for runtime error. Again, open same recovery scenario manager, and let me open same recovery scenario file which we already created, and inside that we already defined pop-up recovery scenario. And into this scenario file, I want to add one more new recovery scenario. Click new scenario button. Okay. Let me take the snapshots quickly. Okay. Now click new button. Next new scenario I'm creating. Again, the same thing, same flow. Click next button and select here run error trigger event type. Run error and click next. What error we are getting? Select here error message. What error message description we are getting? Unexpectedly. I'm getting object is disabled. Is it right? It is a error description we are getting. So select that error description and click next button. So from here it is same common steps. Click next. I am selecting again function call. I want to define a function as a recovery operation. Move next. Now select that library file which we created already, recovery lib. Inside this library file we already created one function, correct? But still this list is empty. Why this list is empty? Simple reason. That function is not listed here because how many arguments that function has? Previous recovery scenario function, pop-up recovery scenario function has only one argument. Understand? But if you look at here, the run error recovery scenario function has 1, 2, 3, 4 arguments. So the number of arguments are different in the already defined function and for this recovery function. In this recovery function, we should define 4 arguments, but in that library file there is one function which has only one argument. That means that function prototype is not matching to this prototype. That's why that function is not listed here. Understand? And here define that function name, error recovery, error recovery. See that function name is changed, and click next button. That function will be added to this same library file immediately. No, that is a function we are calling error recovery. We are calling that function name, and no need to add one more recovery operation. Okay, move next. And here what I can do, repeat current step and continue. This step can be selected. Is it right? I can select same option. Now summary, give here name error, run error, I can say run error, scenario name, and move next and finish it. And I'm selecting this option. That means I want to add this scenario automatically to this script. Now it will be added automatically. Click finish and save this. Save this recovery file. That's it. Close it. Now go to that library file. See that function is added. Understand? With 4 arguments. But this function has only one argument. That's why this function name is not listed here. That means this function cannot be used as a recovery function for runtime error exception. That is the reason. This function can be used as a recovery function for only pop-up exception. And this is the function syntax for run error exception. But actions are same. We are going to execute. So I will copy same actions here. Understand? So let me take this snapshot as well. As a recovery operations. So after that, you go and see in the settings, recovery. See that is added already. Run error from that same library file. It is automatically added and selected. Now when you want to activate this recovery scenario, on error, not on every step, because this in this recovery scenario what we are defining, we are defining error description as an exception. So when QTP returns an error, only then I want to activate this recovery scenario, because this recovery scenario will check the error description. Understand? So that's why we should select here on error option. That is important. Not on every step option should be selected here. Here it should be selected on error option. Understand, guys? It is very important. Okay, I selected on every step option and apply. Okay, that's it. Now run the script. It should run successfully, but now it won't immediately activate the recovery scenario. It will take time. See that it will take time until QTP throws error. QTP will not activate recovery scenario now. Only when some error is found, then only it will activate recovery scenario. See, now only you are getting error. You will be getting error here. When you get an error, then QTP will check for exception. What is that exception? It will verify the error message. What error message QTP returned? If it is object is disabled, then it will call recovery function. See that? See, error is occurred here. Here there is an error. Okay, this it is different error. Here we got error, recovery error, exception error. See here it is verification mismatch. Here it is not error message. It is a verification mismatch. But here we will be getting, see, object. See, object is disabled. It is an error message written by QTP. Then immediately QTP identify that error message as an exception. Then it is calling this function, error recovery function. Inside that function, we are clicking OK button inside file reservations window and clicking cancel button inside open order dialog box. Those two steps are executed and it continues. See that it continues the same step again. See that activate and exist again. It is repeating that same iteration. It is running. It is not going to next iteration. It is running same iteration. Look at that. It is running. It is continuing the same iteration, not going to next iteration. After exception is recovered, it continues the next step execution. Are you clear? That is how it is running. That is the option we selected. Post recovery option we selected. Proceed to next step. Clear, guys? All of you clear in the run recovery scenario? Runtime recovery scenario. Just chatting. We are not passing any objects to function. Then what is the use of defining the objects in function definition? No, we are not passing, but QTP will be passing automatically. QTP will be passing. Whenever QTP identifies this exception, understand? See here in the result file you can see, right? QTP identifies the exception. Where it identifies the exception? See here. Here, see. See here. Here QTP detects that exception. See. Trigger, see. Recovery scenario is activated here. Are you clear? Recovery scenario is activated. Understand? Whenever it is activated, immediately QTP will pass all this information. See, look at it here. Object, and which object we got that error. While activating window, we got that error. See, on this statement, we got that error. Understand? See, this is the error. Object is disabled. Where we got that error? While activating that window. Understand? See, it is an object. And what is the method? On which method we got that error? Activate method. And arguments. Is there any arguments for that method? No arguments. Empty. And the result. What is the error message? Object is disabled. So all these values will be passed as input to this recovery function. That is what here: object name, method, arguments, and return value. That means error message. All these things will be passed as input to this method. If you want, you can use these arguments inside your recovery function if you want, if it is required. But by default, this recovery scenario will pass these 4 inputs to that recovery function. If you want, you can use those values inside that function. But here I am not using that here. We are not using those values. But it can be used. Are you clear? Yeah. So here is running that recovery actions. So any other questions in the recovery scenario, in the runtime error recovery scenario? Okay, fine. See, now we will see the same example. I will show you with little small change. That's it. Object state recovery scenario. How to use, how to recover object state exceptions by using recovery scenario. Small change. All steps are similar except exception definition will be changing. That's it. Rest of all the steps are same, common. Object state recovery scenario. Exception recovery scenario. So for that, what example I'm going to give? Same example with different what is it, analysis. Look at that. Here so far in our input we are passing invalid order number, right? I will leave it empty. Now for this example, I'll be passing empty value in the third iteration. Then when it is empty, whenever this value is empty, what happens? You are setting the order number checkbox, but this value is empty, correct? Then when this value is empty, what is the next step? We have to click OK button, correct? But this OK button is disabled state, not in enabled state. So what we have to assume here, assume that OK button is disabled unexpectedly. But if you do it manually, it will be enabled. Understand? But it is disabled by mistakenly only by through automation execution. Just assume that it's not the case here. Just assume that only through automation execution, when you are running the script by automation script, when you are executing this test case by automation, at that time this OK button is not getting enabled even after entering the value. Understand my point? Even entering some value in this text box, this OK button is not getting enabled. But when you enter manually, it is enabled, no problem at all. Yes, this kind of issues you will be facing in the real-time projects when you are running automation scripts. Understand? So that is one example. Just assume this kind of scenario. Then how we can define this as object state exception? See, these kind of things will happen in all windows. For example, in all windows we have the same kind of issue. After entering the value in one text box, then based on this value, the next field should be enabled. But that field is not getting enabled in most of the screens. This is the common issue across the multiple windows. Then how you can handle this? Through recovery scenario, we can handle that. So let us see that. So what is the exception here? OK button disabled. OK button is disabled property. Whenever that OK button in the dialog box, in the open order dialog box is disabled, then I should assume that as an exception. Then what I should do? I should close this open order dialog box immediately, or whatever the dialog box it is. The dialog box should be immediately closed. Are you clear? That is my recovery action. Now let us see that how to define recovery scenario for this. resources, recovery scenario manager, again open same. Okay, Shiva, I will upload this session video file immediately today. Okay, maybe it will go for another half an hour. I hope so. Okay, this session. So add here new scenario and select here same thing. Let me take snapshots of all for your reference. Move next. Select here object state exception. Move next. So how to define object state exception? By that object's property. Okay. So select that object first. Click this object and select that object first. Click this hand icon and select this OK button. Okay, yes, I selected OK button. For which object you want to define unexpected state, select that object and click next. And here you should define properties. Text is OK and NATO class it is not required, so I can remove that. Text is not OK. Okay. What is the other property? Enabled value false. Enabled is false. So this is the property we can use to define disabled state of that OK button. So that property should be selected as false. That means using properties, you should define what is that? You should define that object unexpected state. We are defining object unexpected state by using properties, object properties. Okay, that. Next. Then it is same common thing. We can again define what is that? Recovery actions, recovery operations, same thing. Only that step alone is different. Okay. Now see that. Again, I select here function call. Go next. Select here. Function call. Go next. And select here library file. What happened? Oh, here it's not saved on that library file. One second, guys. I think so that is not saved. Let me save this library file. Again, open recovery scenario manager. Open that file. Add new scenario. Object state. Now next, select that object in the application. OK button. And next, remove this NATO class and select enable with false value. Next. Next, function call. Next, select that library file. Where is that library file? It's not listing. The source and destination file is same. Okay. See now, there is one function is defined here. See, but in that library file there are two functions, but only one function name is listed. Why? Because what is this recovery scenario? It is the object state recovery scenario. Understand? For this recovery scenario, only one argument is there. So with one argument, there is only one function. So that's why that function name alone is displaying. But this function name is not displaying here because this function has different number of arguments. See here. Understand? So, but here, what action you want to execute? I want to execute only one action, not two actions. But inside this function, there are two actions are defined. So I can't use this function as a recovery function for this recovery scenario. So let me define new one. Object recovery. Okay. New function I'm defining. Next, remove this. Recovery function is added. Now click next. Now what you want to proceed here? I want to go to next action iteration. Next action iteration. Proceed next action iteration. That is the post record operation I want to select. And move next. Define object state. Exception name, scenario name. Move next. Okay, add this scenario to the script directly by selecting this checkbox. Next, finish it and save this recovery scenario file. Save this recovery scenario file. Done. Close it. See, now go to file settings, recovery, that is selected. Open, object state is selected. Now unselect runtime error. I want to use only one scenario, not all the scenarios. I disabled other two scenarios and I enabled only one scenario, object state. And when it should be activated? On error, not on every step. Only on error should be selected. Why I'm telling that on error only should be selected? Very simple reason. When I click this open button, what is the default state of OK button? Disabled. But here at this point I don't want to verify the exception. When I want to verify exception, whenever QTP returns an error, then I want to verify the exception. But if I select on every step option, what will happen? After clicking open button, immediately QTP will check for exception. Then it will check for OK button state. Is it enabled or disabled? It is disabled. So it will assume that it is an exception immediately. So it will close that immediately. Understand? That means all orders will be closed like that. All iterations will be closed. No order will be opened. Understand my point? I will show you that one. If I select on every step option, it won't run any order. It will run 5 iterations, but no order will be opened. You could see that. Okay, now let me select here on every step by default. Okay, just for seeing this execution. Okay, now look at that here. What is the function? What is the action you should run? Only I have to click cancel button inside open order. I don't want to click here. OK button inside flight operations window. This dialog box will not be open now because I am entering empty value. So this dialog box won't come, won't display. So I no need to click here OK button. Just I have to click cancel button. That is what my recovery action here is required. Now save this. Okay. Now save it and now run the script. Now you can observe that all 5 iterations will be executed, but no order will be open. See that? Nothing is open, but it's running 5 iterations. Why it's not opening any order? As soon as it clicks open button, that OK button is disabled state. So it is assuming that it is an exception. So that's why when you want to verify exception, that is important step. We want to verify this exception only on error. Whenever error is returned, whenever any error occurs, then I want to verify for this exception. All of it clear? So it should be selected here. Okay. Now run the script. Now see that it will be working good. Second order is open and third order, see that it is empty, but OK button is disabled. So now QTP will throw error. It will not click OK button. It will throw error definitely. So whenever it throws an error, then it will check that whether OK button is disabled or not. If it is disabled, then it assumes it is an exception. See that it is running 4 and 5th iteration successfully. Clear now? Say that exception. Here exception occurred. See, object is disabled. Whenever some error occurred, only after that QTP is verifying for the exception. Say that here it is verifying the exception. Here exception is found. Object state exception is found. Whenever object state exception is found, then it is running It is calling a function. After finishing the function execution, it is skipping this current iteration, say that, and continues the next action iteration. Okay, so this is how it is running the results. Okay, and now any doubts, Chari, here? In the object state exception, any queries? Okay, fine. Now let us see what else. One more thing here. Uh, Application crash, right? Application crash, like generally we cannot see that example like this. At least for these scenarios, we have taken some examples in the flight solution application. Even though those examples are not real exceptions, but we can assume that it is an exception, and then we have seen that how that recovery scenario is handling that exception. But application crash is not like that. Until that application is crashed, we cannot see how it can be recovered. Understand? So here you cannot see that application crash exception recovery scenario, but just simply I can show you how to define a recovery scenario for application exception, application crash exception. Okay, let us see that. The last one, application crash exception. Crash recovery scenario. Okay. Okay, let us assume that this flight simulation application is not responding in sometimes while running the automation scripts. That is a scenario we can take example. Okay, then how we can define the recovery scenario for that? Clear? That is what we are going to just show you, that how to, you cannot see the execution. Go to recovery scenario, open same recovery scenario file and click again. What is the scenario here? Assume that so exception here, I'm just simply assume the flight reservation application is not responding sometimes in automation execution. That is an example, just we're assuming. So then how to handle that? So here click on new scenario button and go to next. Select here application crash. Go next. See, it displays how to define application crash event. To define the application crash event, you should select which process is not responding. So here flight reservation, it is the process. Move that to right side. That is what you have to do. Move that process from left side to right side. What is this left side list? The left side, it displays a list of all the applications which are running currently in your system. So from that applications, you should select which application may get crashed during your automation execution. So that application process name can be selected and move it to right side. That is what will happen. That's it. That's all. That is a definition. Now move next. Now what is the required action for this? If any application is not responding, then what is the required action? That application should be closed. That process should be killed. Correct. That is a required operation. Definitely. There is no doubt about that. So how to define that? Move next. So select here close application process. This is the required scenario option we should select. Required option should be selected, close application process. Click next. See, again it displays same list of applications names. Which application you want to kill? I want to kill this application. I want to kill this application. Clear? I want to close this application. Select the same thing again. That's all. See, close process flight a.exe. That is our recovery action. Understand? So this action is enough to execute our scripts? No. If you close the flight station application, how you can continue next script? You cannot continue next script. So you should define a function to restart that application and log in. Only then you can continue the next script execution, right? So you should add here one more function call. One more function call to restart the application. Understand? So define here same way, select the same library file and define here restart or login. For login, it is a function. I want to run. Are you clear? So inside this login function, you can write a login code. So that's it. Only two actions I want to run. First one is close the application process and second one login. Now next, so post recovery operation. Post recovery operation, stop this execution. Stop the test run. I don't want to run this current script because it is a big application itself getting crashed. Either you should restart the execution or I should stop it. I cannot select these options here. Understand? Either I should select here restart option, restart that script execution from the beginning, or stop that script execution completely. Understand? Yeah, you can select this option, restart that current test execution. It is a better option as a post recovery for in this case. Next is the application crash. Next, okay, this no need to add it here because we cannot see that execution anyway. And finish it and save it. Clear? So like this we can define a recovery scenario for application crash exceptions. Is it clear, Chari? It is simple only. Okay, it's not a big difficult process. That's it. So these are the recovery scenarios and how to define recovery scenario and how to use it in QTP and how to handle different types of exceptions by using the recovery scenario. And one more small thing, and see here where we are activating and deactivating the recovery scenarios manually in the settings and recovery tab, and here we can disable or enable recovery scenarios. Is it right? Suppose in the current run I want to enable this recovery scenario, I want to disable this recovery scenario. See, in this script there are 3 scenarios I have added, but in the current run I want to activate only first one and deactivate all the scenarios. So initially I selected all are disabled in the script. Okay, apply. Just see that I am disabling all the recovery scenarios. Activate, and I can say enable or disable recovery scenarios at runtime. How to disable or enable the recovery scenarios at runtime. So initially I selected on a disabled state. Okay, where I define more, sorry. Enable or disable recovery scenario at runtime. Okay, so here it is. Now click OK. See, inside this script, right, I want to enable the recovery scenario. Okay, when I want to enable the recovery scenario, for example, okay, at the beginning or only in the iteration, suppose here you can write recovery. This statement I can write recovery dot activate, then recovery dot. So there is recovery is an object we are using. Set scenario status. First scenario I want to use true. That means only first scenario will be activated now, is enabled now. And other two scenarios are in disable mode already. Understand? So now in the current run, it will use only first scenario will be activated. Like this, by using this statement, set scenario status statement, we can enable or disable recovery scenarios at runtime by using these two statements. First recovery dot activate and recovery dot set scenario status as one true. One means first scenario in the list of scenarios. Suppose if you want to activate second scenario, then you have to use two command true like that. If you want to disable it, false should be assigned. Like that, we can use recovery object to enable or disable recovery scenarios at runtime in the script. So that is what in the utility objects there is a object called recovery. This is the object, recovery object. We can use recovery object to enable or disable the recovery scenarios at runtime. Clear? So that is the thing. So we can use these statements. I can take this snapshot itself. Okay. So like this we can enable or disable recovery scenarios. So any other queries, Chari, about recovery scenarios concept? But see, in this recovery scenario will not be used in all the projects. Most common used recovery scenario in real time. Four types. That's what mostly, right? Uh, if you are working with any the web-based applications, and sometimes if you are getting any unexpected dialog boxes, that is a common scenario where we will be getting. So that is one thing. Dialog boxes. Unexpected dialog boxes will be coming from the browser while running the applications sometimes. That is one case. If you are using mostly recovery scenarios where you will be using. Otherwise, sometimes if your application is getting crashed frequently, sometimes. Then if it is a case, then you can use application crash recovery scenario. Really very useful at that point of time. Because still the application is not stable. You are running your automation script, so you are not sure when application may get crashed. So in that case, application crash recovery scenario will be very very useful. So mostly these two, that depends, right? I told you, right? That depends upon your project. Mostly pop-up or application crash, that depends upon your project, might be used. Other two things, object state runtime error, will be used very rarely. Okay. One mostly widely used recovery scenarios, these two, pop-up and application crash. Again, in some projects, no recovery scenario will be used because it may not be required. So they don't use any recovery scenario. Simply all exceptions or all errors will be expected errors. If it is expected error, it can be fixed in the script itself. No need to use recovery scenario. When you should go to recovery scenario, if that is not unexpected or if it cannot be predictable, only then you go with recovery scenario concept. Otherwise, you should always go with script itself. Understand? So any other questions? Yeah, first I will share UFT 11.5 software. Okay, download that. I mean, it is in Google. Okay, I also have to download that one. It is in Google Drive, not a download in my system. I also have to install 11.5. download that first and then install, and then I will share you that what is that, how to make it. First install trial version of 11.5. Once it is before expiring that, I will share you that how to make it if it is expired. After that, how you can reuse it, I can tell you that. Okay. So okay, Chari, that's it. Anything else? Yeah. Okay, Chari, thanks, ma. Bye.